My girlfriend thought she was destined for bigger things and decided to reinvent herself as an influencer. I, Anthony Miller, 27, male, from Chicago, Illinois, went along with it for a while, even supported her. But the way she started treating me made it obvious what she really thought of me. One moment at O'Hare Airport opened my eyes, and from then on, I knew things wouldn't end the way she expected. My girlfriend, Jessica Parker, 25, thought she was the next big thing on Instagram. She used to have a decent job in retail at a Loop department store, steady paycheck, benefits, the whole deal. Then one day, she announced she was quitting because her brand needed her full attention. Her brand, like she was Nike or Apple or something. She gave me this long speech about how being an influencer was the future, how she just needed 6 months of runway to blow up online. 6 months where I'd cover rent, utilities, groceries, the boring, peasant stuff, while she used her savings for business expenses. I figured, fine, let's see how serious she is. If she could make something happen, good for her. If not, at least I wouldn't hear later about how I never believed in her. Spoiler, she wasn't serious. Business expenses meant shopping hauls at Michigan Avenue boutiques, $8 lattes from Starbucks, and flying to Miami for selfies in rented Airbnbs. She started acting less like my girlfriend and more like I was her unpaid intern. She'd bark orders like, "Can you hold this light for me? No, higher. No, lower. Ugh, you're messing it up." Like, sorry, I didn't realize I signed up for film school. At first, I let it slide. I told myself it was temporary, that she'd get it out of her system. But over time, she saw me as part of her props. The boyfriend was supposed to stay in the background, not messing with her aesthetic. Meanwhile, I'm the one paying for that aesthetic, working overtime as a graphic designer in River North. Fast forward to her big Europe trip. She planned this 3-week content creation tour with her 2 influencer besties, Brian and Kayla, think budget Kardashians. The deal was this trip would be her last big push before the 6 months were up. After that, she'd have to start contributing again because I wasn't bankrolling her forever. I drove her to O'Hare Airport. We're rolling up to the check-in counter when she spots Brian and Kayla, decked out like it's Paris Fashion Week, even though they're about to sit on a cramped plane for 10 hours. They take one look at me, normal dude, comfortable clothes, graphic tee, and give each other that quick side-eye smirk. Jessica freezes like she just spotted a paparazzi camera. She spins around with this panicked look and whispers, "Okay, you can stop here." I'm confused. "What do you mean?" "I'll walk you to security." She sighs like I just asked her to help me churn butter in the middle of the terminal. She glances at her friends, then back at me. "No, don't stand next to me. I don't need people thinking I'm dating you. You'll ruin my image." And there it was. Not a goodbye kiss. Not an "I'll miss you." Just pure panic about being seen with me, the guy funding her little dream. She wanted me invisible, like a stagehand pulling ropes behind her curtain while she performed. I looked past her at Brian and Kayla, both pretending not to eavesdrop but smirking anyway. I looked back at Jessica, with her full glam makeup and fake confidence, and everything clicked. Every time she talked down to me, every time she acted like her life was more aspirational than mine. I didn't argue. I felt lighter than I had in months. I just smiled, nodded, and said, "Yeah, you're right. Wouldn't want to ruin your red carpet moment." Then I let go of the luggage cart, told her to have a great trip, and walked away. No dramatic fight, no scene for her to use in some teary Instagram story. Just me walking out of the terminal. She stood there frozen, probably expecting me to chase after her or grovel. But all she got was my back as I left. I could practically feel her ego glitching behind me. As soon as I hit the parking lot, I pulled out my phone. She was going to be gone for 3 weeks. That was more than enough time. She thought she was building her brand in Europe. She had no idea her whole brand at home was about to get remodeled by me. The drive back from O'Hare was the most peaceful car ride I'd had in months. Just me, silence, and the thought that I was finally free. At first, the petty side of me wanted to go full scorched earth, grab a trash bag and toss every one of Jessica's sequin dresses, ring lights, and overpriced serums onto the front lawn of our Wicker Park apartment. Let the neighbors see it. Let her walk up to her own circus tent of junk when she got back from Paris. But I calmed down. That would give her exactly what she wanted, drama, a story to spin. My evil ex threw all my stuff out. Can you believe how cruel men are? Nah, I wasn't going to make it that easy for her. If she wanted to play influencer, fine. I was about to be the producer, director, and editor of her exit. First stop wasn't even home. I drove straight to the dealership in Schaumburg where I'd bought the car she loved parading around in. For the record, I had my own car for daily driving, nothing flashy, just solid and mine. But Jessica insisted on a shiny black SUV, the one that made her feel like a celebrity when we pulled up anywhere. She took it every time to snap photos leaning against it like she owned it. Newsflash, she didn't. The car was in my name, paid for with my money, and I was done letting her ride shotgun on my dime. I walked into the dealership, found the sales manager I'd dealt with before, and said, "Hey, remember me? I want to sell the SUV back." He looked surprised. Most people don't unload a barely used luxury car on a random Tuesday afternoon. But he caught the look on my face, the one that says, "Don't ask questions, just print the paperwork." They did a quick buyback appraisal. An hour later, I walked out with a very nice check and zero regrets. Step 1 complete. Jessica loved that car because it made her look rich. Now it was gone, and she hadn't even noticed yet. By the time I pulled into my Wicker Park driveway, I was feeling good. But walking into the apartment was a punch of reality. The place looked like a shrine to Jessica's ego, clothes spilling out of closets, makeup and skincare covering every bathroom surface, the spare bedroom taken over by her influencer junk, ring lights, tripods, boxes of fast fashion crap she bought for content and never returned. It didn't even look like my apartment anymore. It looked like the backstage of a low-budget fashion show. I stood in the hallway for a minute, thinking, yeah, this isn't happening anymore. I pulled out my phone, Googled removal services, and found one that promised fast, discreet, and complete. Perfect. I called them, explained I wanted everything that wasn't mine gone, and offered to pay double if they could do it by tomorrow. The guy on the phone probably thought I was going through a messy divorce. I didn't bother correcting him. I also scheduled a deep cleaning crew. If I was wiping her out of my apartment, I was doing it properly, no trace left. I wanted to walk into a place that felt new, not haunted by the ghost of someone who thought her Instagram following mattered more than real life. With the apartment plan set, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. If clearing her stuff was step 2, cutting her off digitally was step 3. We had shared streaming accounts, grocery delivery logins, even Amazon Prime. She was hooked into everything. I went one by one, changing passwords, removing her as an authorized user, locking it all down. Netflix, mine. Hulu, mine. Spotify, mine. Credit cards, mine. It felt like uninstalling malware from my life. Then I got to the good part, her influencer business. Jessica had a website she funneled everything through, brand deals, contact info, her portfolio of edited photos. Since I'd set it up for her because tech wasn't her vibe, I still had the login. I stared at the dashboard, tempted to nuke it completely. One click, and her little empire would be gone. But that would have been too easy, too merciful. Instead, I changed the recovery email and phone number to mine. No big edits yet, no deletions. I was just ensuring that when the time came, I'd hold all the strings. By the time I finished, it was late, and the apartment was still filled with Jessica's stuff. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, I felt calm. For the first time in months, I wasn't reacting to her chaos. I was creating order, a plan, step by step. That night, I slept better than I had in ages. No ring lights buzzing, no endless TikTok scrolling blasting from the other side of the bed. Just me, silence, and the knowledge that Jessica's brand was about to have a very different kind of relaunch. Next morning, I booked a locksmith. New deadbolts, new keys, fresh start. If Jessica tried her old key when she got back, all she'd get was a polite click of rejection. The junk crew would show up soon, the apartment would feel like mine again, and this was just the beginning. I woke up earlier than my alarm, rare for me. Usually, Jessica's phone was the household alarm, blaring some TikTok remix while she filmed a rise and grind story she'd delete an hour later. But that morning, nothing. Just silence, the best alarm clock I'd had in years. I made coffee and sat in the living room, looking at everything with fresh eyes, the coffee table covered in lip gloss tubes, half-burned candles, and receipts from content lunches at the Gauge. The dining table buried under unopened PR packages she begged for online. The corner of the living room stacked with Amazon boxes she never opened. It was like living in a clearance aisle. By 8:45, the junk removal truck pulled up. 2 guys, built like they'd been hauling furniture since kindergarten, got out. They looked around, then at me. "So, what exactly are we clearing?" one asked. I grinned. "Everything that looks like it belongs to a wannabe celebrity. If it looks like it belongs to an adult man, it stays." They laughed, probably thinking I was exaggerating. They'd learn. I walked them through the apartment. Closet, wipe it out. Bathroom, anything that doesn't smell like soap or deodorant, gone. Spare bedroom? Don't sort, just scoop. Jessica had turned that space into her personal QVC studio. Tripods, 2 ring lights, racks of clothes with tags, piles of shoes she wore once for a photo then forgot existed. The guys didn't waste time. I stood in the hallway, listening to the sound of boxes thudding, hangers clattering, drawers slamming shut. It was music. Every thump out the door was another piece of her ego leaving my apartment. One guy walked out holding a massive framed print of Jessica's face, a 24 by 36 glam shot she'd hung in the bedroom like it was a hotel lobby. He stopped, raised his eyebrows at me. "Storage," I said. He shrugged and carried it off. I wasn't stupid, I'd arranged for everything to go into a storage unit in Cicero. First month prepaid, code set. I wasn't giving her ammo by tossing her junk and letting her play victim. She could cry to her followers about how cruel I was, but every piece of her fast fashion empire would be waiting in a locked cage she'd have to pay for. By mid-morning, half the apartment was empty. The closet looked like a closet again, not a mall dressing room. The bathroom counter was down to my razor, toothbrush, and one bottle of body wash, simple, functional, normal. The spare room? Sunlight poured in. For the first time in months, it wasn't suffocating under a jungle of cheap polyester and ring lights. My neighbor, Phil, strolled by with his dog and slowed down when he saw the junk crew carrying out piles of handbags and clothes. "Moving out," he called. I smirked. "Not me." He laughed, gave me a thumbs up, and kept walking. Even he knew. After the junk crew left with their trucks stacked to the roof, the cleaning team rolled up. 3 women hopped out, armed with vacuums, buckets, and rubber gloves, looking like they'd seen everything, so my mess wouldn't scare them. I didn't have to explain much. They stepped inside, glanced at the empty rooms, and nodded like doctors prepping for surgery. Within minutes, they were scrubbing baseboards, vents, even the tops of the ceiling fans. One asked about a weird stain on the bathroom counter. "Bronzer," I said. "Don't ask." She chuckled and scrubbed harder. While they worked, I sat at my laptop, continuing the digital purge. Yesterday, I'd locked her out of Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. Today, I dug deeper. Uber, gone. DoorDash, gone. No more surprise charges because she had a craving for inspo sushi from Sushi Samba. Then I opened her influencer site again. I stared at it, tempted to press delete, but that would have been too quick, too clean. She didn't deserve clean. I double-checked the recovery info was mine and closed it out. One day soon, that site would be my favorite tool. By late afternoon, the cleaners were wrapping up. The apartment smelled like lemon polish and fresh air, not hairspray and self-tanner. They even vacuumed under the couch cushions, where I found 3 lost false eyelashes and half a granola bar. Jessica was like a human glitter bomb, her stuff got everywhere. When they left, I walked through the apartment slowly. Every room felt lighter. The walls didn't feel like they were closing in anymore. The spare room especially, standing there, empty and bright, I could already see the setup, dumbbells in the corner, a workbench for my design projects. Finally, a space for me to build things instead of her fake studio. That night, I sprawled on the couch with a soda, watching a Cubs game. No ring lights buzzing, no phone cameras snapping, no staged date night content, just me, the TV, and peace. Jessica was probably in Rome, tilting her head for a pasta picture, thinking her boyfriend back home was waiting to pick her up in her luxury SUV. Meanwhile, the SUV was sold, her stuff was in storage, and her digital empire was under my control. She wanted space to build her brand? Fine. I'd given her all the space she could ever want. And the best part, she hadn't even realized her stage was gone. The next few days were like watching my life reboot in real time. No more clutter, no more fake influencer studio, no more shrine to Jessica's ego. Just me, 4 walls, and endless potential. First thing I did was go furniture shopping at a store in Logan Square. Jessica always picked stuff that looked good in photos but felt like garbage in real life, skinny leg chairs that wobbled if you breathed too hard, a couch that looked sleek but felt like a park bench. Functionality didn't matter to her, only aesthetic. Now it was my house, my rules. I bought a huge, comfortable couch you could pass out on during a game. I pulled my oak coffee table out of storage, the one I built with my own hands years ago. Jessica hated it because it didn't match her vibe, but to me, it was solid, real, mine. I upgraded the TV to a bigger one with a proper sound system. If I was reclaiming my kingdom, it was going to be done right. The spare bedroom became the crown jewel. No more racks of fast fashion garbage or ring lights blasting like a UFO. I brought in dumbbells, a bench, a workbench for my graphic design side projects. For the first time in forever, the room didn't feel like wasted space. It felt like mine. That energy carried over to the rest of my life. With Jessica gone, I had real free time, not hold this ring light while I filmed time. I started gaming late into the night without anyone whining about how it wasn't aspirational. I worked on my design projects again. The air in the apartment felt lighter, like the walls weren't soaked in her fake perfume anymore. Then came the part one didn't realize I'd missed most, my friends. Jessica always found my friends boring. Translation, they didn't give her free attention or fawn over her Instagram. Over time, she'd convinced me to hang out with them less. But now, I called them up and hosted a proper guys' night. The first Friday without Jessica, my buddies rolled into my Wicker Park apartment with pizza, wings, and enough snacks to fuel a small army. We watched the Cubs game on my new TV, lounged on the couch, and laughed like idiots. At one point, my friend Ryan looked around and said, "Dude, this doesn't even look like the same place. What the hell happened?" I smirked, leaned back, and said, "I remodeled. Started with the trash." The room erupted in laughter. It was perfect. Right in the middle of our night, my phone buzzed. Jessica. A picture popped up, her in front of the Eiffel Tower, doing that fake pout she thought looked mysterious. No text, no "how are you?" Just her flexing that she was in Paris while I was stuck back home. I laughed, turned my phone around so the guys could see, and they groaned. "She's still at it?" Ryan asked. "Oh yeah," I said. That's when I had the best idea. I snapped a selfie of me and the guys in my transformed living room, new couch, new TV, oak coffee table front and center, snacks everywhere, everyone smiling mid-laugh. I captioned it, "House looks different without you." Then I hit send. She replied instantly, first, then, "Where's my stuff?" Then, "What the hell did you do to the house?" My phone buzzed nonstop for the next 10 minutes, walls of angry texts, calls one after another. "This isn't funny, Anthony. You can't just do this while I'm gone. Answer me right now." I didn't respond to a single one. I tossed my phone on the coffee table, grabbed another slice of pizza, and laughed with the guys. If she wanted drama, she could scream into the void. Silence was my reply. Instead, I spent my time planning something for myself. I'd always wanted to ride my motorcycle down Route 66, but Jessica hated the idea. "That's not aspirational," she said once. Too bad. I booked it, 2 weeks on the road, just me, the bike, and endless highway. I made sure my trip started the same day her flight landed. Timing couldn't have been sweeter. Then I sat down to write the email, short, cold, professional, no fluff, no emotion. Subject, important information regarding your return. Jessica, as per your request at the airport, I have ceased to be a part of your life. To that end, the following arrangements have been made. Your belongings have been packed and moved to a secure storage facility. Address, 123 Storage Way, Cicero, Unit 42. Access code, 4321. First month prepaid. The SUV you were driving has been sold, it was in my name. The locks on the apartment have been changed, you are no longer a resident. I trust this provides you with the freedom you wanted. I will be out of town and unavailable for further contact. Do not attempt. Best of luck in your future endeavors. Anthony. I read it over once, smiled, and hit send. Done. Clean. No begging, no arguing, just facts laid out like bullet points. If she wanted me gone from her image, she got her wish. She just didn't realize she'd lose everything else along with it. I leaned back, closed my laptop, and started packing my gear for the trip. For the first time in years, I wasn't planning around her schedule or needs. I was planning for me, and damn, it felt good. That feeling stuck with me the 2 weeks leading up to her flight home. I was lighter, happier, hell, I even caught myself whistling while packing for my motorcycle trip. Jessica's texts kept rolling in like clockwork, half flexing, half panicked. The day of her return, I was already on a plane headed west. My friend Ryan, absolute legend, agreed to keep me updated on whatever circus unfolded. When Jessica landed, he delivered. She expected me waiting at the curb like her personal chauffeur. She stood outside O'Hare with her 3 monster suitcases, scanning the crowd like I'd magically appear with balloons and a welcome home sign. When she realized I wasn't there, she called me. Then again, then again. By the 10th call, Ryan said she was pacing, full-on meltdown mode. Eventually, she flagged down a cab, one of those small ones where even getting a carry-on in the trunk was a fight. The driver wrestled her oversized luggage like it was a CrossFit competition. Jessica stood there filming herself looking sad and stranded, because even her breakdown had to be content. By the time the cab dropped her at my apartment, the meter was pushing triple digits. She tried her old key in the lock. Nothing. Tried again. Nothing. That's when the real show started. Ryan said she pounded on the door like I'd appear from the other side. When it stayed shut, she sat on one of her suitcases on the porch, staring at the door like sheer willpower would unlock it. Then came the calls, 48 in 2 hours. Voicemails ranged from rage, "You can't do this to me," to pity, "We can fix this, Anthony. Just let me in." She even called Brian and Kayla, but suddenly they were busy, too busy to drive across town and play moving crew. Loyalty only lasts as long as the clout, I guess. So she called her parents, 2 hours away in Naperville. Ryan said when they showed up, it was like a bad sitcom, her dad red-faced, yelling about wasting his time, her mom crying like I'd locked their daughter out of Buckingham Palace, Jessica sitting cross-armed on her suitcase, glaring at the apartment like it had betrayed her. That was just the porch scene. The real fun started later that night when the smear campaign went live. Jessica, Brian, and Kayla posted synchronized Instagram stories, teary eyes, shaky voices, captions about the dark side of relationships. Jessica painted herself as the poor abandoned victim, left homeless and stranded by a man she thought loved her. If I hadn't been on a motorcycle under the desert sky, maybe it would have stung. But I'd already inoculated everyone that mattered. Before I left, I'd sent a quiet message to mutual friends. Jessica and I broke up. She made it clear we wanted different lives. No drama, no story for her to spin. So when her crocodile tears hit Instagram, people weren't buying it. Comments under her posts were skeptical at best. Some even whispered about the airport story, how she told me I'd embarrass her. Funny how that slipped out. Ryan called the next morning, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. Bro, your front yard looked like a yard sale no one wanted to attend. Her dad yelling, her mom crying, Jessica screaming into her phone. Neighbors came out just to watch. It was free entertainment. I pictured it while riding through Route 66, Jessica sitting on her luggage throne, her friends ghosting, her parents exhausted, her brand unraveling online. For once, I wasn't the background character in her performance. She wasn't the star anymore. She was just the one stranded outside, trying to play to an audience that had stopped clapping. And me? I was miles away, watching red rock canyons glow under the sunset, free, untouchable, grinning like a man who just watched the credits roll on a bad movie. The best thing about silence? It drives people crazier than shouting ever could. Jessica had humiliated herself on the porch, cried online for sympathy, and burned through her friends' patience. All I had to do was sit back and wait. But I wasn't letting her fizzle out. She deserved one last firework. Remember her influencer website? The one she funneled all her business through? I'd been sitting on that ace card, and it was time to play it. Late one night, parked at a Route 66 campsite, I pulled out my laptop and logged in. Her portfolio was full of staged photos, her leaning on my SUV, twirling in dresses I paid for, sipping cocktails she didn't buy, a highlight reel of my money disguised as inspiration. Before erasing it, I rotated the password, swapped the recovery email and phone to mine, and turned on two-factor authentication. Even if she tried to claw her way back in, every code and reset came to me. Then I erased it all, every filtered photo, every fake caption. I replaced it with a single image, the junk removal receipt, total circled in thick red. Underneath, I typed, brand undergoing strategic realignment. Please check back soon for updates. I hit publish, closed the laptop, and leaned back with the biggest grin of my life. Ryan later told me the timing was perfect. One of her dwindling followers spotted it instantly and sent her a screenshot. Jessica lost her mind, going from glass of wine in a selfie mode to screaming banshee mode in 5 seconds flat. She tried logging in, locked out. Tried recovering the password, blocked. Called the hosting company, nothing. By the time she realized she had zero control, my phone was lighting up with 27 calls in the first hour alone. I didn't answer a single one. When crying didn't work, she changed tactics, legal threats. A week later, my lawyer called, practically giddy. You're gonna love this, he said, barely containing his laughter. Jessica had hired some fancy firm, or at least sent a letter with their logo, demanding I restore her access to the apartment, return the car, and pay her support because I'd ruined her livelihood. My lawyer lives for this stuff. He drafted a response that was a verbal roundhouse kick wrapped in legal jargon, attaching a copy of the apartment lease, my name only, the car title, my name only, and an itemized invoice of every expense I'd covered for her over the past year, rent, groceries, utilities, vacations, even the stupid ring lights. Her share of the total was more than anything she could claim I owed her. The letter ended with, if Ms. Parker wishes to pursue this matter in court, Mr. Miller will be happy to countersue for repayment of these expenses. We strongly suggest she reconsider. Translation, please sue us. We'd love to watch you get shredded in front of a judge. My lawyer chuckled while signing it, saying he doesn't usually get such low-effort target practice from ex-influencers. The threats stopped immediately, no more letters, no talk about the car, not even a whimper about support. She folded like a cheap tripod. Her arsenal was gone, no apartment, no car, no website, no career. Her friends had ghosted. Her parents were exhausted. The law wasn't saving her. She'd built her identity around looking like a star, but when the lights went out, there was nothing there, just silence. That silence followed me back from the trip. For the first time in forever, my phone wasn't buzzing with demands, complaints, or fake emergencies. No guilt trips, no assistant-level errands, no staged date-night requests, just peace. By the time I unpacked, Jessica had gone dark online. No new posts, no dramatic quotes, no selfies. The only trace of her brand was that junk removal receipt screenshot floating around, shared in group chats for laughs. I'd taken her empire apart without yelling once, no fights, no begging, just logic, receipts, and silence. That was the kill shot. And man, it felt good to pull the trigger. Coming back from Route 66, I felt like a different man. No stress, no constant buzzing phone, no staged photo ops, just me, the road, and the silence I didn't realize I'd missed until I got it. The silence didn't end when I parked the bike in my garage. Jessica was gone from every part of my life, no calls, no messages, no nonsense. Her brand wasn't just quiet, it was dead. Word trickled back through mutual friends, Jessica had moved back to her parents' house in Naperville. Miss Global Influencer was now in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by stuffed animals and posters she'd forgotten to take down. The storage unit pickup was a disaster. Her parents rented a moving truck to haul everything back, and it was one long screaming match. Neighbors told Ryan it was so bad they could hear her dad yelling from the street. Her influencer career? Finished. She didn't have the money to keep up the image, no shiny SUV to pose with, no content trips she couldn't afford, no wardrobe hauls she was secretly putting on my card. Her feed went from daily posts to recycled old photos, then to vague inspirational quotes about new beginnings, digital tumbleweeds. Even Brian and Kayla cut her loose, sick of her crying about how I ruined her life while begging them for help. Loyalty in her world only lasted as long as the free perks. Then came the funniest part. My buddy Matt, who works at an art gallery in River North, called out of the blue. "Hey, man, you'll get a kick out of this. Jessica came in yesterday, tried to sell me some of your old furniture from when you cleared the place. Said she was an interior designer now." I laughed so hard I almost dropped the phone. "Did you buy any? Are you kidding? It was all cheap junk with no character." I told her it was worthless. She flipped out, started ranting about how you destroyed her career. Honestly, man, it was sad. That was Jessica in a nutshell, delusional. She thought she was a visionary, but when the money dried up, the illusion crumbled. Without me, there was no brand, just piles of tacky furniture and expired skincare. Meanwhile, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. My apartment was mine again. Every room had something real, my oak coffee table in the living room, my weights and workbench in the spare room, photos from my trip framed on the wall, memories that didn't need a filter to matter. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected too long, game nights, hikes in Starved Rock, weekends at Wrigley Field. Stuff Jessica called boring because it didn't get likes online. Turns out, boring feels damn good when it's real. The best part? Freedom. I could plan my own trips, buy what I wanted, do what I wanted without someone asking if it fit the vibe. I didn't have to live in someone else's highlight reel anymore. I never hated Jessica, not even after everything. Hate would mean she still had space in my head. What I felt was better, indifference. She was just noise I'd muted. She once told me my life wasn't aspirational, and she was right in her way. My life wasn't aspirational for Instagram. It was real, solid, built on things that last, friendships, work I'm proud of, furniture I built with my hands. Stuff that doesn't need an audience to matter. Jessica never understood that I wasn't just a background extra in her story. I was the foundation. And when the foundation walked away, the whole pretty set collapsed. She wanted a brand. I wanted a life. She got stuck with empty quotes and blurry old photos. I got everything else. And honestly, I wouldn't trade places for anything.